What's going on, everyone? My name is Joseph Reynolds, and today joining me is Jordan Little. He's had a very accomplished 2022. He's been out there several times. He's done well with England and for himself as well. Closed the year with a title victory, but heading into the World Championships in February. How are you feeling for it, buddy?
Yeah, I'm feeling good, and I can't wait to get back out. It's probably the longest gap I've had, 2 months. So yeah, it'll be good to get in and fight again.
Yeah, and looking at all you've achieved this year, obviously you fought in Cage Warriors 142, you represented England at the Four Nations and the Euros. You've closed the year just on the cusp of the top 10 in the UK and Ireland, and I believe Europe as well. To do all of that in just a space of 1 year, well, even less than 1 year, we haven't headed into the new one yet, but to have done all you have this year, what's that been like as an amateur, still extremely early on in your journey in MMA?
You know, it's amazing. I've had some ups and downs throughout the year, made some mistakes, but that's why I'm doing this, and I'm trying to get that experience in, ready for pro. Make the mistakes now, ready. I had a great time at the Four Nations. I made it to the final. The Europeans, I could have gone a lot further, some dodgy decisions, but it is what it is. And you know what, throughout the year, I've just enjoyed myself. I've had fun with every fight, whether it be win or lose. I'm going in there and giving it my all, so I'm happy.
Yeah, and when you do get to go to these places and have these sort of experiences, obviously going to different countries, fighting in front of big crowds and representing your country already, what has that sort of been like for your progression as a fighter, getting these sort of experiences in before you even do turn to a professional level?
Well, it's a huge difference. I'm going against, as you said, like some of the top 10 in the UK, and it feels great. And then you go against guys from other countries, and they have a completely different style, background, and their whole work ethic is different. For us, a lot of people in the UK, it's a hobby, it's a sport that you just want to get into, and then maybe some of you, or you kind of move on to it becoming a career. Where in a lot of these countries, like, they're raised with it. They learn this at school. This is a part of their lifestyle. They start when they're a young kid and they build up. So you go against people with different backgrounds, different skills, and it enhances you in other ways. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to be on the England squad and to be able to do it again.
Yeah, and when you do sort of obviously take a look at the team England as well, it seems that the Euros, the team was really able to bond, and the sort of how close the team was becoming one, it grew a lot at the Euros. Would you say that the bond across the team within England, it really did grow at the Euros in terms of seeing everyone compete and then always wanting to see each other achieve the best as well?
Definitely. So, like, when I went in 2019, I wouldn't say it was much of a squad. Like, we were kind of individuals, and that made me a bit nervous. But going back for the Euros, it was a solid team together, supporting each other. Like, I had the experience in the cage where our crowd was the loudest. Every time I thought I could hear everyone screaming. And then when I was out of the competition, it was like, okay, and anyone else that's out of the competition, how can we help the others that are still in? So whether it be just warming them up, making sure their weight's okay, or the opportunity to corner like I got to do, it's great. Everyone came together, made a proper solid bond out there, ready for the next time.
Yeah, and you mentioned there in terms of the difference between 2019 and then obviously the Euros this year, but when the team is more of a unit and they're closer together, does that put you more at ease and make it more able for you to perform better, would you say, in terms of seeing how the team perform together?
Definitely. So, as I said again, 2019, we were individuals. So you're warming up as an individual, you're training as an individual. You're not really molding and able to chill. Where this time, we're all together, working together, committing to each other to ensure that we have the best opportunity. You've got their back and they've got yours. And it's just relaxing, really. Like, in my second fight, I kind of got a bit more like confident with everything, and I was, I could hear the crowd. Like, usually I kind of zone out, but this time I could hear the crowd, and I was like waving back to them, cheering back a little bit, and it feels good. You start to get more in the zone in a different way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and then obviously you had the Four Nations, which gives you a little taste of what the IMMAFs is like. And then the Euros, which is the biggest step up as well in terms of the travelling to a different country. But do you feel getting those experiences in at the Euros, it puts you more at ease for the World Championships because it'll be a similar setting, just on a sort of a lot bigger stage at the same time?
Yeah, so the Four Nations for me, when I went there, was more to test myself, thinking it would be all the best from our country and to see if I was ready to go back for the Euros or the Worlds. For me, that was the mindset. I want to go there and work out whether I'm on that level. And I went out there and I gave it a good go, and I felt great. And you got to meet the people that were also doing the same thing. It was kind of a good introduction to each other, ready to go away to another country. We knew each other. It wasn't like you're just going out and being individuals again. And it was just more experience again. Like, I'm obsessed with getting as much experience as possible. I want to have as much cage time as I can before I go pro and have more than the pros.
Yeah, and when you are, we already touched on in terms of the year that you did have and the amount of fights that you've had and the things that you've done, but is that what you expected going into 2022? You mentioned there in terms of wanting to be even more experienced than some pros by the time you make the change, but has this always been the goal? Was 2022, was this how you expected it to go?
I wasn't expecting to be a part of the Emma squad. I wasn't expecting to represent England. That wasn't on my plan at all. I knew I wanted to get as much experience as possible. I didn't know whether the Euros or the Worlds would happen. Obviously, it was stopped for a while due to COVID, and then I didn't know whether, due to like if your gym's a part of it and then other selection processes and the amount of fighters that are out there that want to do it, will I actually be a part? So for me, the Four Nations was my way in, and as I said, like I wanted to test myself, so that's where I went down that route. If I hadn't have done it, I would have probably just tried to get more fights here in England, but it worked out in my favour.
Yeah, definitely. And when you are able to obviously get these sort of experiences in, and when you do find out that you are going to be representing your country, obviously the sport's still not recognised as of yet, but it's growing in popularity rapidly. And being able to represent your country on a world stage, European stage, in the country, what's that been like to know that you are representing your country in such a positive way?
It's huge. I can say I was a part of the first Four Nations, and I got to medal there, which for me is a huge thing. Like, no one else in the country has been able to do that, and all of a sudden I'm saying I'm doing that, and if they do it again next year, will it be even bigger? And to represent the country on an international level and go over to other countries again, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Not everyone gets to do that. You've got a lot of fighters that are turning up that would dream of having that opportunity, and I'm living it, so I'm happy.
Yeah, and then one of the final things for myself is in terms of looking ahead, obviously at the IMMAFs, what is your goals for the IMMAFs? I know obviously the biggest part will be getting the gold medal, but in terms of how you see your ideal route in the IMMAFs going, what does that look like for yourself?
Obviously, I won a medal. I think I could have medaled at the Euros if decisions hadn't have gone the way they did. Go back this time and try and not leave it to the judges. Let's get that finish and show that I belong there, show that I'm ahead of everyone else, and I'm ready to go pro. I've got a fight only a week or two after I get back in England as well, so that activity is staying on, keeping myself ready for pro. So I want a medal, and I think that helps when you go pro. Those medals, I can say I've got 2 bouts, the British silver at the Four Nations, and then hopefully a world medal now.
Yeah, and then the final thing is obviously it's a self-funded event. It's due to the sport still not being recognised. But what is it like sort of having that support behind you and people sort of coming on board, helping your journey progress as you do go to the Worlds?
I'm grateful for everything that anyone puts towards helping us to go. We've got sponsors if we can get them. I had one for the Euros, which helped me out massively. Hopefully they can go again this time. But then also just like, family and friends, people around me supporting on GoFundMe. Without them, it wouldn't be possible. And then we've got this time, I think we've got seminars that Molly Meatball is, sorry, I'm having a moment now. Molly McCann is holding to raise money to help us to go as well. So we've got people from all levels trying to support us to get us there.
Yeah. And then just finally, if you want to take a chance to any sponsors, coaches, anything like that, obviously just feel free to go ahead, buddy.
Thank you to everyone at Range Academy. My coaches, Mark, Dan, and Jay. Without all of you, I wouldn't, be able to do this. And all the coaches that are a part of Emma, because you guys obviously see something in me to select me to go out there again. I'm grateful for that and everything you put in to get me out there. And all my team for keeping me sharp, giving me black eyes or anything if they want to. And my family and friends for supporting me, and all my sponsors. Thank you.
Yeah, well, that is everything from myself. Obviously, if you do want to support Jordan, I'm sure he's got his GoFundMe links and everything like that. I'll also put them in the description of this as well. But don't miss the World Championships in February. There's a lot of Team England going out there, and there's a lot of amateur talents that are all going to be the next generation. But I appreciate your time very much, Jordan. Thank you very much, buddy.
Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure. Bye-bye.
Bye.